Before we begin, let me say I was absolutely astounded by the New War questline. We have so much to cover. Unfortunately, the quest is not replayable at this time, and I am unable to see all the deviations that I did not choose. So, like the last video that caught us up to the New War, I cannot promise 100% accuracy to Warframe's story and canonical lore, but I do promise 100% honesty as we look at the New War through a lens of emotional affect and philosophical intrigue. I also promise to keep away from any excessive padding or gameplay without commentary or without important story beats. If any gameplay without commentary exists, I have retained it for the viewing experience of people who have not played the game themselves and waited for this video to watch the story unfold. In other words, for the sake of coherency. Writing this script alone took 5 days, by which I mean 120 hours of research and writing over a few weeks. I had to brush up on some themes from the previous lore video. I also brushed up on my understanding of quantum physics, but most of all, I had to learn some ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics to retranslate an Egyptian philosophical text, relying heavily on the complete translations by experts, of course, linked in the description below. So what I'm trying to say is, this has been even more work than my original Warframe video. The most work I have ever done for a video, and I'm committed to making more detailed video essays like this one. So, I'm relaunching my coffee-themed Patreon page. Check it out using a link in the description, become a Java Bean for as little as $3 a month, and get your name in the special thanks section of each and every video. I appreciate what everyone watching these videos have already done for me. 1,000 new subscribers, getting monetization back after YouTube changed the policy a few years ago. The extra funds really helped manage the costs of moving in with my fiancé in January and covering some unexpected bills. If you do not like Patreon, that's cool. My videos here are always free. But if you would like to show your support, I have a link in the description to either send me a tip through Streamlabs, or you can purchase a copy of one of my books. Controller Revolution: Why Video Games Are the Future of Philosophy is a philosophical analysis of video games as a medium, and its unique potential to become the practice of philosophy itself. And Ludolectic: The Gospel of Game Literacy is a pragmatic guide for understanding the unique challenges of non-gamers attempting to play their first video game, and gives best practices for how to find games that non-gamers will enjoy. Good. With all that out of the way, let us begin. Part 1. Rejecting Confucian Hierarchy.
We are seasons. All of us. Growing in the light, fading in the dark.
What is a family? Is it fate, or is it a chance? Is it a duty, or is it a choice? Can't it be both?
It was the same. Yet never changed.
We open the New War on the sentient armada descending upon every sector of the Origin system. Starting their attack at the Unum's tower on Earth, they possess the tower and use it to stage their invasion of the Cetus settlement and the Eidolon plains. Despite setting the town ablaze, Eraz steps onto the battlefield himself. gently lifting the toy mask of an Austrian child. He speaks with a soft, discordant gentleness,
Don't be afraid.
foreshadowing the sinister plan he and Balis have hatched.
Brothers, dead. Only call 175.
On the plains, we awake as Call 175 to the voice of Counselor Vahek screaming across the radio.
Brother! The worms have swarmed the sector, but we will prevail. Regroup on my beacon. For the Queens. Dargan crash. Call help pilot. Call finish mission. For the Queens. No. Run, maggots. Run!
Call moved to regroup, but upon seeing a Dargan pilot crash nearby, he chooses to change his mission to help the pilot. However, he is too late. The pilot has died. The reason? The sentient Chondrix is too efficient at destroying the Gurneer air fleet.
Pilot is dead. What is mission now? Mission! That bloated Chondrix swats us down like flies! We're grounded! Call stop. Tell call. Impossible. Even if you could get close to that thing, they'd eat you alive.
Yet, even in the face of Counselor Vahek's doubts, Call's devotion is too strong to give up. So Call makes a plan to take it down from the inside.
Eat? Alive? Ugh. What if food is bomb? Brother Carl! Yes! Find something with a high enough yield. Hurry!
Triumphantly calling for the Queens, Call single-handedly defeats a dozen sentient Brachiolists and Battalists. Call 175 kills an Ortholist with only a machete in hand, and deftly weaves between sentient energy spikes and sentient patrol lights.
Searches must not see Call.
Finding a handheld explosive device, Call repeats, for the Queens.
For the Queens.
Call's face then alights with joy. Just in time, a battalion of Grineer charge forth, only to all be killed in the very next moment. Call 175 survives the explosion. Crawling for his life away from an encroaching battlist, Call finds the body of a fallen Warframe in the grass. Call pulls the Warframe's weapon and fires. He now wields a prime shotgun, the perfect weapon to take down the Condrix's final guardian, the shield-bearing Symbolist.
Queens. You are so close. Detonate Yurna, and your brothers shall live to fight another day. For the queen. That's it. Detonate at the base of that bloated Condrix. For glory!
Call executes the Symbolist with vengeance in his eyes.
I salute you, 175. For the queens.
Approaching the base of the Condrix, Counselor Vahek commends Call with one last queenly salute, but Call 175 has another thought. Mid-breath, he speaks what is truly in his heart.
For my brothers.
With this line, we introduce the first theme of the New War, the total rejection of the Confucian social hierarchy. The queens had always been useful to the Grineer command structure, yet so reclusive and hidden that even the Lotus once believed the queens to be mere propaganda. Even with one of the queens killed by our hand, the Grineer continue as though nothing happened to them at all. Yet the one thing that has remained true about the Grineer is how they talk and behave throughout all of Warframe, their devotion to each other. From the Simris imprint where they first disobeyed their Orokin superiors, to Tile Regor extolling his love for the Tube Men, to the Steel Meridian's desire to liberate their brothers and sisters from the Grineer command structure. When all chips are on the table, the Grineer do not act out of duty or obligation to a social hierarchy, but for the love of their family. In so doing, despite rejecting the value of the Confucian hierarchy, Call 175 exemplifies one of the 5 constant virtues of Confucian philosophy: Ren, altruism, empathy, humanity, sacrifice. As Confucius defined Ren, wishing to be established himself, he seeks to establish others. Wishing to be enlarged himself, he seeks to enlarge others. But before Call can achieve the aim of his virtue, he is approached by a Ra with the same uneasy gentility. We next find ourselves in a Corpus cruiser, face to face with a Corpus engineer awaiting a blast door to open so that he can make his escape from the burning ship. Only Alid V makes a call down to the crew. Something just came up, and he needs you to come into work, Vizo.
All
Tech aboard narrow burned me at once.
Confirming tech aboard. Viso-R at your service. Most gilded director.
Yes, Tech Prophet. My command overrides aren't working. I need to break fire control from the fleet. Can you fix that, Vico?
It's Viso, most lucrative and sagacious visionary. Yes, I can try. There's a trace conduit nearby. I can bypass it.
Yes, do your thing. There's a nice bonus in it, if you can.
A breacher MOA could clear that debris. Wonder if the robotics dispensers are still functional.
Alid V is curiously asking you to disable the fleet's weapons, but you are not one to disobey your boss. Using a breacher MOA to progress, it self-destructs while shouting, "This is joy," demonstrating how even under normal work conditions, the Corpus proxies propagandize self-sacrifice to the corporate hierarchy.
Why are you shooting at me? Sir, Viso here. Our robotics have gone rogue. The sentients must have latched the grid.
Someone has. Yes. I'll pull some meat crews to cover you. Just get me that override.
Viso. Right, I've got a data pad, secure robot dispenser access, and a Plinx. Right.
Upon breaking through, we see that the sentients have hacked the Corpus network and now control most of the ship's striker MOAs.
A functioning shield drone dispenser? Oh, thank Prophet. There's no shame in maximizing my shields and just running. Their shields are too strong to shoot through. Maybe if I boosted mine somehow. How many hostiles ahead? I can't do this! Unless I get a striker MOA. Turrets look a little less scary now that I've got a striker MOA.
Is important to us.
If I don't stand down fire control soon, we'll all be sucking vacuum. Tico, what's taking so long?
Sir? You want to disengage fire control from the fleet? I don't understand.
Look outside. We're all about to be under new management. Now do your part, or I'll find a more forward-thinking replacement.
You fight your way through for the sake of Alid V's command, only to be rewarded with a failure to remember your name and a threat of being fired.
You see, this is why we need that command override back. The board just can't face reality. So, what's your plan, Tiso?
Plan? You mean I have to? Okay. I guess hit him in the knees? Trigger his attack routine? That should leave his shields vulnerable. In theory.
Clever. Get to it.
Am I a traitor to the board? Yes, sir.
As you continue to fight your way forward, Alid V continues to promise reward, but he accidentally let slip an insult to the Corpus Board of Directors, planting in Viso a seed of doubt.
Gotta blast those shields while I can.
And just in time to fight a Jackal proxy
Drain no shield and that will force his self-repair routine.
with only a few droids and your Plink pistol.
Just in time, too. Our new management is about to pay a personal visit. Be quick. I've got to stand down fire when they dock with us. Well done, Vico.
We secure command override as Alad secures all the credit for the risk that you took for the achievement you just earned. Here we see another break from the ethical demands of a Confucian hierarchy. In Confucianism, rulers are meant to earn obedience from their subjects by following the will of heaven and providing for their subjects' needs. Yet, short of divine retribution, classical Confucianism has no means by which to hold accountable the superiors in the 5 relationships that fail to do this.
Attention, crew. Stand down. All stations. You'll be pleased to know that I, Alad V, have negotiated a peaceful and profitable transfer of power to our new
Fleet control. Firing sync re-engaged. Authorization? Corpus Tech First Class VSO-R. Take your shot. For profit.
Unlike the Grenier sense of family, a corporate so-called family will never see a superior sacrifice themselves for their employees. It merely mandates the workers sacrifice themselves for profit. Like when your manager expects you to come in to work on a holiday, but never works the holidays themselves, yet still tries to guilt you for not supporting the corporate family when you choose not to sacrifice your personal time for the business. Thus, as a religious hierarchy that worships the acquisition of wealth and status, the Corpus Board of Directors are something like the Pope of the Catholic Church. Thus, we could read Alad V's betrayal of the board in favor of a sentient partnership as a rejection of the will of heaven from a Corpus Confucian cross-cultural worldview, thus meriting Vizo's disobedience. What happens in a Confucian society when the person in the lower role of the 5 relationship disobeys? Well, at least for this section of Corpus society, the natural result is a social collapse when Vizo fires on the sentient ship. A social collapse in the form of being destroyed by a sentient laser.
The enemy's eye turns upon our allies. Quickly, press onward.
Through the explosion, the Tenno's railjack cuts through, breaking past sentient fighters.
Through the perimeter. You're sure about this? It should be me.
No, Tenno. Your warframe will be useless until I clear the Orphix fields. Then, we will meet inside.
Teshin, what if the Lotus won't?
If I must, I can make the harder choice.
How tediously human. A slapdash alliance making a feeble last stand. If you all crave death and a final flash of glory, I am more than happy to oblige.
Intruders have entered the railjack. Intruders cleared.
Sign. Charge the slingshot.
Systems rebooted. We are good to go. You will need to get closer to your mother's ship.
Huh? Did you just...
Squadron incoming. The enemy is wise to our diversions. If hull integrity continues to drop, this will be a one-way trip. Mothership in range. Problem, slingshot damaged. Crew, hold position while I route a bypass.
Do you think there's a shred of Lotus left in the tar? All this time, it's been dying. The tomb scorched from its rotting hole.
Slingshot patched. Ready for launch.
Teshin, I'll be awaiting your signal, so I can bring her home.
I I'll clear the Orphics, and we'll do it together.
Teshin retains Confucian duty.
Orphic's fields will be scattered.
The Orphic's fields will be scattered deep in the ship. Orders can help you triangulate them.
Quiet!
I'm only trying to...
I don't need your help. Switch off.
We send in Teshin Dax to infiltrate the sentient ship and destroy the Orphic's fields that render our warframes useless. The plan is still to rescue the Lotus, but if all else fails, Teshin plans to cut down the Lotus should she truly have betrayed us.
Please excuse Orders. Vernier! Oh my! Orders wonders what we are getting into.
As Teshin fights through the sentient ship, he and Ordis discover dozens of Grineer foot soldiers have been captured, suspended for some unknown purpose.
Observation. A power field requires a power source.
Ordis.
Yes? Would you like me to defend that for you? Swing away, Teshin.
The devil sends their relic to do the deed. But then, we're both relics, aren't we, old man?
Balis contacts us as we begin to break down the Orphic's field, calling on Teshin's sense of honor and duty.
The Tenno freed you from your oath, did they? Does that absolve them of their sins?
Balis tries to remind Teshin of his allegiance to the Orican way of life. Teshin comes upon something unknown, a red and gold disc swirling with red liquid.
You shouldn't have come here. You've ruined us both.
Teshin, are you losing it? Feeling unwell?
It haunts him with the memories of the words he spoke to the Tenno child while under the control of the Red Kuva.
Ordis is still happy to help.
Too easy.
Just one left and Ordis will be able to safely signal the operator to join.
I will decide when it is safe.
She and her void brood toppled a golden age of order and honor. Do you really believe this chaos is freedom?
Balis interrupts again, questioning if the factions are more free in this Hobbesian state of war than they would be under his rulership. Upon defeating the final Typhulist and destroying the Orphics fields, Teshin chooses to confront the Lotus, Era, and Balis alone, without the Tenno. Anticipating the coming trap, Teshin holds to his Confucian sense of duty toward us, protecting us as though an older brother would a sibling, as he always has.
Orphics fields are disabled. The operator should be cleared to board.
No. Too easy. Let me nudge the snares first.
This failure to reject the hierarchy will be his undoing.
Come to me, old man. I am eager to show you how this war ends. Not with brutality, but with hope. Not with lies, but truth. A truth for all who are strong enough to believe. Even you.
As Teshin approaches, Balis speaks again, claiming to offer hope, strength, and truth. But what truth can be offered by a corrupt Orokin? Balis wakes us. We are now seeing through the eyes of the Lotus.
You're going to want to see this. Watch the veil do its work.
Call out. Dax.
Cool water flows, the moon behind a cloud.
He'll give in soon. They all will. And this war will be over before it even begins. Not with bombs and blood, but with truth. They programmed you and your kind. Now it is our turn to program them.
Summon your devil. It's time.
See the veil work, turning his memories inside out, making him see the things he's lost, putting pain where it serves us. A lost love, perhaps. A life cut short by the very Tenno he had sworn to protect.
Old man. Give her justice. Give her peace.
I can see her. Tenno?
A new trick. A tool called a veil has been placed over Teshin's eyes. Era gives an order. Teshin tries to maintain his self-control by meditating on two pieces of Buddhist imagery. Cool water flows, referring to a river, the Buddhist symbol for time, the ever-transient ontology of material things. The moon behind a cloud. The moon is the Buddhist symbol of the cosmic Buddha view of the universe, of truth. Teshin is saying that the truth is being obscured. Yet Balis insists that his war is a path to the truth. They, the Orokin, controlled the sentience forcibly. So why not let the sentience forcibly change the minds of all the remaining factions? Era commands Teshin to bring us to the trap, while Balis explains that the veil is changing Teshin's memory of a loved one, Valeria, to make him believe she died by Tenno hands. Teshin manages to overcome the mind control, and Era moves to slaughter him.
One for the reject pile, then.
But we arrive just in time. we finally see the Lotus, her body deteriorating like ash in the wind. Yet Balas is delighted to see us. He leans down to the Lotus, and with a kiss, drains her of her life.
Goodbye, my love.
The sentient ship then opens a portal to the void, seeking to dispose of Nata.
Let me go, child. Let me go. I can't. I am wounded.
We rush to save her, but Balas severs her hand with paracesis, the very sword he taught us to craft to fight off the sentients. Nata, a sentient, would not survive within the void.
You cannot kill the devil, Tenno. But you can send it back to hell.
Balas cuts us down as well. Our body falls into the void amid growing interference with our transference. But this is strange. What are we failing to connect with? Our warframe? Something else? This same pixelated distortion, a chromatic aberration of space and matter itself, accompanies any and all failed attempts to complete transference. Perhaps the better question is, who are we losing connection with? The Lotus or ourselves? Part 2, Africana Philosophy, Ancient Egyptian Symbolism. Balas now sits atop a gold-red throne. The people cheer before him the name Narmer. That is who we see now. Narmer is the name of Balas's new faction, and to understand the dynamic at play, it is prudent to look to Narmer's real-world namesake. Narmer was an alternate name for Pharaoh Menes, the first king of the first dynasty of Egypt, following King Ka. The name Narmer means painful, stinging, sentient, and also catfish, which may be a reference to his constant lying and emotional manipulation. This makes Narmer in Warframe the sentient faction. The Narmer palette shows the ancient Egyptian wearing both crowns of Egypt's northern and southern regions circa 3200 BCE, which suggests that Narmer completed the unification of Egypt that began with Ka, his father.
I stand before you, last of my kind, an orphan of Tenno massacres. But their violence did not end with me, did it? it carried on to all of you. Grineer languished in their torture plexes. Ostron clades starved for Tenno tithe. Corpus pupils weeping Tenno praise under blade. Solaris souls blackened the skies of Tenno foundries. But now is our time. An era of peace and security. The devils have been cast out. And by the void, the Tenno shall never return.
We see his sentient army taking over each sector as he soliloquies critique at the Tenno for pretending to be Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan. But he goes on to blame Tenno for the abuses of the Grineer and the Corpus as well. From what was done to Teshin, the player knows that these are lies and propaganda, yet to what end? What is his goal? If he wanted to kill the Tenno, he already did. If he wanted to be king, he already is. Or perhaps he is reaching out to those few remaining dissidents whom resist him, convincing them with words of milk and honey to come willingly.
Aspire to south. Full detachment fails on.
Comms are bad tonight. How many prisoners, you think?
Too deep to know for sure. But what if there's an Archon down there?
Don't do that.
Touch me and I'll release the door. It's clear. Maybe an Archon.
Stay cool.
I have no idea what that means. Let's hope you're not too late.
No! No! Trunamecta, please!
Ostron clades starved Tenno tithe.
All as their apostasy. All is well.
Easy now. I'm not going to hurt you. Let me get that thing off your face.
All is one. All is one. All is one. All is
I told you, an Archon.
Call the ship, smartass.
It'll be there, just none.
During a mission to rescue Austrians from Narmer mind control, this random drifter encounters an Archon, an amalgam of a Warframe body and a sentient head. This one presenting the feminine body of Mag, along with the head of a serpent. The Archon namesake comes from the tradition of Gnosticism, an early schism in Christianity in the 1st century AD that focused on gaining esoteric, spiritual knowledge through magic. Depending on which Gnostic sect you are reading, Archons are the final emanations of the one true God. Archons are the lesser deities that created the planets and who maliciously keep people from ascending beyond the secular world. Only magical knowledge can allow a person to transcend the Archons and reach divinity. However, different Gnostics counted different numbers of Archons, between 5 and 365. Their names and appearances drawing from various other cultures, Jewish, Christian, Greek, Roman, and Egyptian, all were being put into new systems under the Gnostics. The archons we will encounter are only 3 in number, and while the narmer mantra of all as one may refer to the Gnostic monad, the one true God, many cultural traditions also claim a single God. Christian and Jewish, Zoroastrians, and, one of the first, the Egyptian Aten, or the cult of Re. Upon closer inspection of the archons, we are still centrally within Egyptian cultural thought.
How long's it been since the Tenno left without saying goodbye? Since narmer and the masks? Since truth became a luxury few can lay their hands on? Whoever's picked up the mantle the Tenno dropped, drifting wild, popping masks and loosen bonds. Whoever you may be, we salute you, Drifter.
The Drifter returns home, greeted by the Lotus, revealing to us that the Drifter is the Tenno child, but aged.
Hey, give me that. All right. Good to see you too.
We somehow pulled the Lotus from the void, but she has died. She is an eidolon now, the remnant energy of a sentient body clinging to nothing.
What do you think, Ordis?
What do I think? I think
Finish her.
this is torture. What's left of her is just wasting away. We've tried everything. I have no care and feeding of eidolons in my data arrays. We don't know what we're dealing with.
No, we don't. But you know someone that does.
I know someone that... Wait, operator, you can't be serious.
I told you, don't call me that.
Sorry. If you want to get to the outer systems past Narmer, we'll need a Corpus shuttle.
We are desperate for help, but who would be knowledgeable of how to revive a sentient from death? Well, one that has already been there and come back to tell of it. We travel to Venus to steal a heartier ship from what remains of Fortuna.
Vox Solaris collapsed under Narmer. You're on your own here. Keep your head down and get topside as quick as you can. Wait. Deacons. They'll sense if you're not veiled. Give them a wide berth, or you'll be sucking black ooze before long.
This disc Teshin saw was the symbol of Narmer, a gold-red sun. Balus, as the reigning son who inherited the Orokin dominion, calls on his people to praise and extol his name. He promises freedom through relinquishing independence and responsibility. Its shape is a symbol called the sun disk, which represented Aten, the sun god, though only a lesser god, seen as an aspect of the god Re before the 13th century BCE. Pharaoh Akhetaten in the latter 13th century named Aten the only god in the dynasty's new monotheistic religion, and he presented himself as the son of Aten. By the end of his reign, depicting Aten in art was outlawed, and thus most depictions of Aten are still found as the sun disk worn atop the head of the sun god Re.
Hello. Missing your brain buster then?
Ignore her. We can't risk it.
Can't risk what? Jagside the cold? But listen, if you're here to muck with Narmer, I'm keen to lift with ya.
Need a ship. Corpus tags.
Then you'll be wanting to pay a visit to that bleeding brainbuster factory. I know a shortcut. Might grab yourself a K-drive if you've got the legs for it. Name's Little Duck. And you must be that stick in the spokes I've heard about. You weren't in with a Tenno back in the day, were you?
Something like that.
Fresh shipment of brainbusters, and there's one with your name on it. See, security's lax on account that the only way inside is wearing one of those sticky things.
What? Oh, you don't know what effect it will have on you. There's got to be a better way.
Afraid not.
In order to sneak into the Corpus facility, we had to wear Narmer's veil.
Pops my plugs to think that some people take the veil by choice. Warm lies are more comfort than cold hard truths, eh?
And it showed us the Lotus, the person we care about most, telling us a false history of Balus being our protector, while the Lotus was merely a jealous wife, scorned by her husband for our sake.
Ready? Veil up and I'll mark the shuttle uplink once you're inside. Think happy thoughts, yeah?
My child, so beautiful to behold. How do you feel? We found you within the derelict Shaman. Failing. Evil. Void in your heart. But Balus, he saw a lost child in need of a father. As you recovered, he noticed me less and less. What good was I to him? If you weren't sick. I loved him, but he only loved you. The stasis streams were the only choice I had. Your harrowing dreams. of mother, father. I made them nightmares.
Balis was like a father to us, the lotus like a mother.
Blending in nice, but I'd still give those deacons a wide berth. Did you know they can detonate those veils if they smell a rat? Take your face off that.
Are you serious? It didn't occur to you that you might want to mention that before we put one on?
It did, and I didn't. Needed you focused.
But whereas Balis wanted Nata, the sentient mimic, to be his lost love Margulis, she chose to be our mother first and foremost. That made Balis jealous. The Orokin's vain faith proven wrong. Nata could not be Margulis just because she looked like her.
He saw through my deception, and my judgment was swift and true. He cradled you in his arms, saying, "Child."
Child, my child, forgive me. Wake from this horrid dream of hers. The world outside is waiting for you. These horrors of Zariman are lies only to hold you ill. I love you.
I can't.
Oi! Focus! Jab that console, quick! Oh, guts! You've been rumbled. Right, leg it out the back before you're mumbling with the rest. I've sorted your shit. And a little nugget for myself while I was there. Takes me back to the good old Tenno days. Expect those brain busters might be on back order for a while. Been a pleasure lifting with. Lovers, holdouts. I just got word on the wave. Narmhead Factory got hit. No doubt the handiwork of that drifter we've been hearing about. Feels good to have a little bit of truth in the world.
Navigation is marked, but I hope you change your mind.
We have our ship now, so it is time to pay a visit to our estranged family. We travel to Uranus to visit Grandpa Hunhao and Cousin Stalker.
This confirms that you are clearly insane.
Peas in a phylopod, Ortis. Stay close in case I come to my senses.
Exalted. The dissident remains entrenched in the shadows below. The sea runs crimson with the blood of our faithful. But I will prevail. In Narmer's name, all is one. The unclean spirit thins our herd from the shadows. It will not matter. My faith is too strong. The light of Narmer will bring it that we're all as one. Only test of my faith in trembling light. But I am not afraid. Ballas will save me. His love is within me. All is one. All us.
Even the Golden Lord of Lies cannot kill you, Tenno.
She lives, Hunhow.
No, she only lingers. And without her kind, not for long. Their search for her remains has long since begun. The shadow can dispatch you swiftly. A mercy. The Archons will not.
What do they want?
The same as you. To raise the dead. Only they have the power to do it. Unlike you. You are just as incomplete as she is. No metal beasts, no void fury. They will snap you in half and plant a veil on your face.
Not if you help me.
Help you? Of course. What are friends for? Let me explain what you are up against, friend. You see, the Archons were made by my son, Era. Hybrid abominations of the old war, raised from the blighted battlefields where Sentient and Warframe fell.
Hunhow explains the Archons to us, and helps us prepare to confront them. Boreal is an amalgam of Volt and an owl-shaped sentient head. They are reminiscent of Horus, the falcon-headed god of the sky, whose eyes were the sun and the moon. The Eye of Horus became an important symbol of protection for royal families in Egypt, just as Boreal protects Ballas. Horus would also be associated with wisdom through Thoth, the baboon-headed god of wisdom, was often depicted holding the Eye of Horus. Horus would also be associated with wisdom and owls by later people of the Hellenistic heritage, with the Greek goddess of wisdom, Athena, often depicted with an owl as a familiar.
Terrifying, yet this moment is your only chance to close in, unseen, and strike.
Amar, an amalgam of rhino and a wolf-shaped sentient head, he is reminiscent of Anubis, jackal-headed Egyptian god of the dead.
Coils of flame. Survive the flame, and you might see frenzy. A relentless fury of slashes. Only the greatest of force will subdue him in this. Should he howl, the pack will appear. Mirrors of himself, meant to confuse. Only the true eye can distinguish the alpha among them.
Nira, the mag serpent amalgam we saw before, reminiscent of Wajet, the serpent protector of Egypt, wet nurse to Horus, and guardian deity to women in childbirth. The Eye of Horus is often called the Eye of Wajet.
Every unfurling of its tip. Her whip is more than pain. It is protection. If you stand in awe of its spiral, the great thunderclap that follows will knock you senseless. Though she may be diminished somewhat by this exertion. And her gaze. To meet her gaze is certain death. Only by turning away would you hope to survive. Vainglorious. Whelp. That's it. Off you go to die. You have nothing to fight these beasts with. I cannot guess how many lives a Tenno has, but you seem eager to lose another.
I've got work to do. You can lay here all you want, doing nothing, wallowing in ancient grudges. She chose the Tenno. But Ballas and your groveling son, they used her. They'll do it again and again, burning her up for whatever suits them and tossing the ashes when they're done. They cannot have her.
Tenno, wait. I have wallowed here. It is true. Fading in this deep hole, waiting to die, but without release. Held here by a purpose I cannot abandon. That she is free. So no, they cannot have her. But hear me, even if I help you, even if by some miracle you succeed, she will not be the same. Even for us, death leaves a mark. Do you understand?
I understand.
A weapon as old as those you hunt. Nataruk.
Sentient Hanhao now gives us an ancient weapon to kill the Archons, Nataruk, a bow that fires explosive sentient energy. Its namesake, Nataruk, is the name of an archaeological dig site in Kenya. The human remains found there are purported to be the oldest evidence of a human tribe murdering themselves in armed conflict more than 10,000 years ago. The oldest historical record of humanity engaging in civil war.
If you are worthy of Nataruk, you won't mind the little test. Archons will raise the dead to swarm you, but Myra is not the only one to call thunder. Nataruk can fire fast and true, but you will need to time your release with the weapon's rhythm if you hope to pierce the blighted skin. You are quick to it, but facing the Archon will not be as easy. You must study and prepare.
Oh, but, you're alive! I can hardly believe it. He actually agreed to help?
Yeah. Bastard even gave me homework.
You cannot kill the devil, Tenno, but you can send it back to hell.
Part 3, Tenno and Quantum Physics. A flashback or an experience?
Quiet down, please. Stand for pledges.
By the glory and wisdom of the seven, I give my life.
By the glory and the wisdom of the seven, I give my life.
You wanna get the tension again?
To carry the sacred light of our dominion into the deepest dark. In this, we are one.
We find ourselves on the Zeramin 10-0, being given our daily lesson by the ship's cephalon.
Save all that chitter-chatter for Tao. Our jump schedule has changed again, so we're moving exams up with it. Everyone has studied their temporal axioms unit, I assume?
TA? We were meant to have physics.
By my precepts, I've never had such an enthusiastic group of students. Now, eyes on the main screen and pay close attention.
Temporal Axioms, Unit 6. The Prison of Linear Time. Presentism, the obsolete theory of linear time, posits that now is all that is real. In this frame, the present absolute, the now, moves constantly toward the future.
When are we ever gonna use this stuff?
And leaves the static past behind, discarded, consigned to unreality. The future remains to be discovered, but is less real than even the past. We see the shadows on the cave wall, but not the hands that cast them. The void offers humanity the truer telling of eternalism that now is merely a facet of a great block.
My head hurts.
It is relative, and we can change the frame. The tyranny of the present absolute is overthrown. Tomorrow is now its equal.
Students, eyes on your own screen.
The lesson attempts to convey the Entrati teachings on how time works in Warframe's world, inspired by a real theoretical framework that attempts to explain quantum physics, the many worlds interpretation. Let me attempt to explain the basics of quantum mechanics, but only what is relevant to this story so that we do not get lost in this topic. Number 1. Quanta just means distinct and countable, an amount that does not divide into a smaller piece. It does not mean magic. Number 2, a particle is an expression of energy in a quantum field that overlays the whole universe. Example, a photon is localized energy in the electromagnetic field, and we call this light. Number 3, particle changes and movements are not strictly determined. It is a range of possible outcomes randomly determined at a moment of observation. Observation is, when doing the math, the event of taking a measurement. This is called wave function collapse. Number 4, what does the universe consider an observation? What causes a wave function to collapse when a human person is not taking the measurement for science? These are still open questions that are hotly debated and spawn most of the theoretical frameworks of how to explain what the heck is going on with all that timey-wimey particle physics. There are currently many different competing theories for explaining wave function collapse. One of them is the many worlds interpretation, that every possible way the wave function could collapse does so by generating an entirely distinct and separate universe. Every possibility is an actuality. If this were true, then the question of physics as a whole is not what happens or how things happen, but which universe it happens in. If time and space, the principle of change, is also quantized, meaning distinct, individual, and countable, then, like a single frame of an animation, a single sticky note from a flipbook cartoon, any moment of anything, anywhere, and any when is its own extant, real thing from its own universe. But it should be noted that this interpretation does not mean that anything is possible. Instead, it means that which is possible is always actual. Consistently, Warframe associates the notion of time and probability with the void. So, if the many worlds interpretation of quantum physics is true, why not see those expressions of quantum fields from each universe as overlapping or interchangeable? Why couldn't you take one sticky note from one flipbook and put it into a different flipbook animation? Just change the frame, then let the universe continue to play out again, but different this time. The classroom lecture video starts by diminishing a view of time as a single moment that changes on a linear path by the name presentism. Referring to Plato's allegory of the cave, it calls the present moment a shadow, a facsimile of the truth, but missing an understanding of causality, the hands that cast the shadow. However, the dismissal of presentism is also a departure from the Buddhist philosophical inspiration in the game's early days. A common metaphor used in Buddhist thought to explain time and its function is to imagine a river. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It is always changing. Yet there is only ever one whole river. Time is the river, just one momentary river experiencing change. The Orokins seem to have disagreed with this, and were apparently, canonically, right to do so. Replacing presentism with eternalism, using the void allows the Orokin to just choose which possibility is presently represented in their universe. While taking a test on the presentation, the writers at Digital Extremes also take the opportunity to see if you can avoid some common logical fallacies, like the popular fallacy and the appeal to authority. But just as we finish the quiz, we begin the void jump to the Tau system, and something goes wrong.
Pardon the interruption. This is Zeraman Actual. All decks, all stations, stand by for reliquary field trips.
Students, please direct your attention to the windows. You may find this instructive.
In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Back at our orbiter, the Drifter begins the task of hunting the Archons, beginning with Boreal.
How long does she have?
Not long. You must hunt Era's Archons at once, and take from them their power over restoration. Given such a task before you, I suspect you'll be gone before she.
Forgive me, but this would be a lot easier if you could use that old, Tenno magic. How did you lose it?
I didn't. More like, I don't have it yet.
That interference again. There's got to be an Archon nearby.
A curious weapon, Drifter. You seem to have made a powerful friend.
They have me, Era. Until you come to your senses, Ballas is not one of us. He is a parasite, adapting to whatever suits him. He is using you and our kind. Surely you see that.
See what? A century of your failures? Your betrayal of your own people? Narmer has given our people more than you ever could. Victory. When my Archons have crushed this scantfly, you'll be back to rotting in the deep. Alone.
Hun Hao and Era argue about Ballas's worth. Is he really helping the sentients, or is he pursuing something else? We reach Boreal and
The creature retreats, wounded. Finish it. It lies in ambush ahead, but you have no choice.
after great struggle, find a way to dispatch it. The fight is too great for us, as Hun Hao predicted. With no Warframe nor Void energy, we end up relying on the Stalker to finish the fight by removing the core.
Children. Well now. One of you out there is slaying dragons and doing it in style. Keep those hits coming. Drifter.
We return home to feed the crystal to the Lotus.
More. Soon. Soon. I promise.
Back on the Zeramen 10-0, we relive the trauma of barricading ourselves into the classroom to keep us safe from the adults' void madness.
Was that my mom?
Void jump in 5 minutes.
Cephalon, kill the lights and switch off.
Void jump commencing. How exciting!
Shh, quiet, everyone. Keep your voices down.
Why is this happening to us? What did we do wrong?
We attempt to comfort and strengthen each other in ways that evoke the yin-yang dichotomies that we have seen in previous quests. Yang, something went wrong with the jump. Yin, we're in this together. Yin-yang, we need to stay quiet.
Something went wrong with the jump, but we'll survive. Promise.
Okay.
Hey, why don't you go sit closer to the others until we get environmental back?
My mom's coming to get me soon.
Yang, we're on our own. Yin, your mom will come. Yin-yang, we'll be your family for a while.
Snap out of it, we're on our own now.
No, my mom's coming.
But doing the rounds, we see a child tapping on the window. They look at us with our face, saying they will take our light. It's the man in the wall.
Hey, lose your light? Here, you can take mine. Thanks, kiddo.
I think I will.
2 left. Just a simple choice between the horrible one and the terrifying one.
He was not just with Rel when Rel fell into the void. He was with all of us on that day. The Lotus and Ordis were wrong. Captain Vor was right. The void is alive. The man in the wall is real. Pursuing the second Archon, Amar, Hun Hao again appeals to his son to give the sister her freedom.
Archon in the vicinity operate... Sorry, old habit.
Don't sweat it.
The new one. I don't think I get it either.
I know you. I feel it. Itching in my mind. You're not just some lucky drifter, are you? Well, my Archon will be prepared for you and your friend. I'm afraid that luck of yours is all spent.
Era, call off these aberrations. Give your sister a second chance at freedom. Are you so blind to the truth? You haven't won. You are a Dax in every way but name. A servant to the old Golden Lord.
A second chance. I see. You're not just trying to stop my Archons from finding her. You're trying to bring her back yourself. Either way, she'll soon be returned to us, and this time as Nata, purged of Tenno lies and human weakness.
Era wants to hear none of it. Just as we wanted the Lotus back, unchanged, Era believes that obeying Balis will restore the Nata he knew before the events of the Old War. He wanted to place the sentience in the seat of power, But Hun Hao points out the obvious, that the only dominion is Balas's own whims. The only dominion belongs to the Orokin.
Why do you conspire against me, Father? There is peace and dominion now. The first in centuries. Our people will finally flourish as we were meant to, atop the pyramid of living things. All of us, as one.
Are you trying to convince me? Or yourself, son?
We bring the second Archon core to the Lotus.
Fairy stories ain't ever just about how monsters are real. They're lessons in how monsters can be killed. Here's to you, Drifter Archon Killer, and closing the book on this particular fever dream.
I'm a little unsure about this. Last time she snapped at you. What'll it be this time?
Unless she sprouts fangs, I'm sure it's fine. Besides, there's still another Archon after this.
She begins to compose herself.
No biting this time, okay?
However, she still cannot recognize us. Perhaps we are the wrong Tenno for this moment.
I'm Tenno. Zariman? All that?
Tenno?
Back on the Zariman 10-0, we are confronted by the man in the wall.
Time's up, kiddo. I can save them. All of them.
But you have to want it.
Let's say we shake on it.
They promise to save all of the children. We hesitate. But the void-mad parents are now breaching our ramshackle barricade.
She doesn't know who you are.
No shit.
What do we do?
Back to the Drifter. Ordis yells that the Lotus has become completely sentient. She pursues us with an intent to kill, and we have no choice but to run.
Run! Get away from her!
Ordis sacrifices himself to buy us some time, but it is not enough. Back to the Zeramen, the man in the wall reaches out to us eagerly, their hand wrapped in void energy. We take it, and in the void's grasp, every possible version of the Tenno child is laid bare. One by one, all of our alternate selves go mad and die, leaving only two possibilities. The child and the drifter. Reaching across the gap, the Tenno child uses the void to repel the sentient Lotus's attack. Stepping out to see her, the Lotus can recognize us once again.
You're alive?
I don't know what I am, but I know what I must do.
Like before, she takes to the sky, this time not following Ballas, but pursuing him. With our return, the Lotus and the Tenno are separated once more. With news of our return, Ballas flies into a rage, insulting the masses for willingly abandoning their freedom to his own dictatorship, to his coup.
It is her, I am certain.
But of course your Archons have her. Tenno! Even hell was not hot enough to split them.
What does it matter? You have won. Narmer spreads across the system. Monuments rise to your glory. All who live, bios and not, kneel before you.
But not them! You see some great triumph here? That this dullard herd worships me, wailing freedom from their rotten gobs. When the truth is, they all thirst for that piss-warm comfort of being told what to think. They wanted to kneel.
But not them. Then what is your command?
The fleet. She is coming to us. What's left of her. She will kneel before me, and by my word, slaughter the only thing she has ever loved. And then we feast.
Surely, in his mind, he means the sentience as well, though this is lost on Era. Now armed with the knowledge of how to find the derelict of the Zeramen 10-0, we return to it to find more answers. It still swirls with void energy seeping through the cracks. It is empty, devoid of life. The closest thing it has are the effects of the long-fled Tenno who once made their home here. We manage to find the torch we left behind.
Still works.
Hello?
Then suddenly hear a whistle. we see the man in the wall step behind a corner to guide us. We step out to the ship's main garden, statues covered in vines. A duviri mask hangs from a tree. We continue to follow the man in the wall back to our room. A voice calls out to us, the source of the whistling.
Almost ready.
The drifter sits before us, gentle and solemn, yet in good humor. The drifter jokes about their relationship to us, the only possible reality in which we survived the Zeramin 10-0, but did not gain the power of the void.
What the hell?
Hungry?
Yeah?
Ordis. Okay?
Yeah, but what are...
Got all your warframes back?
Yeah. Why did you...
So... Where's she at now?
I don't know.
Yeah. Still missing a few from the deck. Hunting that golden freak, I figure. What's his name?
Ballas? Wait. So you don't know...
Ballas, right.
You ought to be more careful.
I might not be around next time.
Around? Okay, so what is this, then? Are you from the...
future?
Nah.
But that'd be a lot easier to get now, wouldn't it? As far as I can make out, you're the me that got rescued from this shit, and I'm the you that did not. Not sure which of us got it worse.
So you've been stuck here this whole time?
Not here exactly, but yeah, stuck. You got bigger problems. Right now, at least. To freedom. Yeah, it's great. Ah, that's my cue, I think. Would love to give you a hand and all, but the way this works, seems like finishing this is either you, or Me, you. So, what do we think?
The wave function may collapse at every possibility, but only one possibility per universe. Do we continue as the Drifter, or as the Tenno we have been? We take on the responsibility ourselves. Just as the Lotus rescued us, now it is our turn to truly rescue her. The Lotus needs backup.
You know, she saved you. It's your turn. Bring her back safe, kid.
Protocols reversed. Orbital frontal section reattached. Running diagnostics. Corrosion minimal. All seals holding.
Ordis.
Stasis protocols lifted. Systems coming back online. Cephalon refit complete. Ready for operational cross-check.
It's good to be back, Ordis.
Good to have you back, operator. Systems cross-check when you're ready. Looking forward to
tearing Ballas in half.
Finding the Lotus. Warframe vitals strong. Warming up nicely. I've taken the liberty of rebuilding the paracesis. Transference signal strong. This thing seems to have survived stasis.
Hungry, no doubt.
The narmer fleet seems to be redeploying. Sensors show Murex clustering past Mercury. What is Ballas up to?
Cetus. She's going to Cetus. She wants that Murex.
Going after Ballas, then? Some kind of vengeance precept? Ordis had no idea she was strong enough for such a confrontation.
She isn't. Not even close. We have to stop her, Ordis.
All right. The only way to reach that Murex undetected is up through the tower. We must speak with Konzu.
With Konzu's help, we sneak through Cetus. Onko is nowhere to be seen, but we remove as many veils from the Austrians as we can while ascending to the Unum's tower.
Afflicted with one of those wretched narmer veils.
Tear off the lying mask.
Has it been so long?
Konzu, run and hide.
We must pull that oversized sentient leech from atop the Tower of Unum. Help the others as you helped me, Sura. I shall find a way.
Master Tizanai is forever at your service.
Sura, quickly now! Come to the air dock! Hurry, Oots! Fly, my friend. Stay out of their gaze.
On our approach, we hear Ballas's propaganda broadcast to Cetus. He speaks of fully committing to traveling to the Tau system, to become one with the Way. if we continue to track the Taoist metaphors. But rather than truly being unified with the one true, unchanging substance of reality, we must remember that Balis can only serve us lies. To understand the final act, we must go back even further. To a philosophy older than Confucianism, older than Taoism, older than Platonism, older than the proto-philosophy of the pre-Socratics, older than Buddhism, older than even the Rig Veda.
The locals believe this tower to be inhabited by a great spirit they call the Unum.
And that she sees time all at once. I think it's just a metaphor.
Sura, do not harm any whom you could save. Kruna met.
Back to what may be the oldest philosophy I will ever have the privilege of discussing on this channel. Sabate, wisdom literature from the 12th Egyptian dynasty, circa 19th and 18th centuries BCE. Listen closely, so that I may tell you a story you have never heard, but one that will sound all too familiar. Part 4. Africana Philosophy. Dispute between a man and his soul. Content disclaimer. Light discussion of suicidal ideation and verbal references to domestic violence. Entering the Unum's tower for the first time, we continue the endeavor to remove veils from Austrian hostages, while also fighting off sentient guards, giving us some time to explore the ancient Egyptian concept of soul. You may have encountered some philosophical frameworks to the human soul before. We touched on Cartesian mind-body dualism in my original Warframe lore video. Plato divided his concept of the philosophy of mind into 3 parts, the tripartite soul. Both Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung copied Plato's model while shifting its focus and defined parts in their psychological models. But the ancient Egyptians were more categorical in their approach. For them, the soul, the self, was split into 8 parts.
You picking up anything strange?
Nothing on my senses. Keep in mind, operator, this was your idea.
The Ka, the vital spirit, the first inward breath, and essentially the reason a person is alive rather than dead. The Ba, the personality, the principle of individuation, and that which makes different objects, people, things, a unique member of a class. Ba is material and capable of desires without other parts of the spirit. The Ket, the physical body. When joined with a Ka and Ba, the Ket grants intelligence and the opportunity for the soul to live in the West, the field of reeds, the afterlife. In other words, heaven. The Sa, the spiritual body. This is the form the soul adopts after death if the Ket is given funeral rituals. This is, for example, the difference between a sentient and an eidolon in Warframe. The Ib, the heart, is the seat of the will and a person's thought and emotions. The Ib is their concept of mind and is corporeal, synonymous with the physical organ in your chest. For the person's soul to live on in the West, the Ib must be weighed on a scale against a feather. The heart's burdens must be no heavier than one of Ma'at, the goddess of truth's feathers. The Ren, the name. The person's memories and experiences. So long as a person's name is spoken by the living, then the soul will still live in the afterlife. and two more esoteric parts that we have less parallels for in Western thought. The shoot, the shadow. This is the anthropomorphic, the human shape, any visual representation of a person, though most often found as the person's own shadow. And the sekhem, the form or power, has something to do with skill and ability, somehow connected with the gods Horus and Osiris, the two gods that are connected with the pharaoh's embodiments in life and death. Once a deceased person has been given the proper rituals, the sum of all 8 parts of the soul are called the Akh, an embodiment of intellect itself with the appearance of pure light. I think we can easily draw parallels with the New War quest so far with Egyptian funeral rituals. The lotus, in her sentient physical body, her Ket, died in the void. The drifter recovered her Eidolon, her spiritual body, the Sa, then restored her through a ritual of taking power from the gods Horus, Anubis, and Wajet, representing wisdom, death, and birth, restoring the lotus to an Akh, a whole intellect. But the lotus is not able to get every piece of herself restored immediately. There is conflict within her and around her. She does not fully know who she is or what she wants when she left to confront Balas. To prepare you for the confrontation with Balas, I must tell you a story. A sebet, a story of wisdom called Dispute Between a Man and His Ba, a work of unknown authorship. It is written as a dialogue in the same manner as Plato's dialogues, which were the first written text to kick off European philosophy. The Dispute is one of the earliest and foremost works of Africana philosophy. With edits to help you, the listener, follow along, I will now perform this dialogue for you, and with the help of fellow YouTuber Daniel Santos. He will take the role of the Ba soul, while I take on the role of the man. Without further ado, hear us begin the saga. My Ba's tongue was not partial concerning their opposition to bribery. I opened my mouth to my Ba so that I might answer what he had said. You are much against me today, whereas you have not quarreled with me before. I am not exaggerating. It is like I am ignored. So do not depart me. Attend to me in this. Do not depart me on this day of suffering. Look, my Ba misleads me, but I will not listen. My Ba drags me, but I will not go along with it. It casts me on the fire. Ba, be near me on the judgment day. Be my advocate. Say this one goes forth because he has brought himself. My Ba is ignorant about easing life's misery, yet still restrains me from death. Sweeten the West for me. Is that so difficult? Life is a transitory state. Even trees must fall. It tramples on evil, yet ignores my misery. So let Thoth judge me and sate the gods. Let Khonsu defend me as a true scribe. Let Ra command the ship of the sun to hear me. Let Izdes purify me in the hall of judgment, because my burdens weigh heavy on the scale. So it is sweet for the gods to rend secrets from this Ket, this body. Then my Ba said this to me.
Are you not a man?
I am.
Are you not worthy of living?
God's willing, but no.
What profit is there in worrying about your worth, in the way nobility worries about wealth?
I said, I will not depart this, nor neglect the West. If you flee, you will not be cared for, like a prisoner saying, though you die, I will remember your name. That place is attractive to my Ib, my heart. The West is my home. If my Ba would listen without the figure of prejudice, my Ib agrees. He shall succeed. I shall make him reach the west like one whose pyramid still stands over his grave. I will make a shelter over your corpse, such that you will be the envy of Lesser Ba. I will make your shelter cool, such that you will be the envy of a Ba that is hot. I will raise my shoot, my shadow, and drink water at the pond, so that you will be the envy of a hungry Ba. If you hold me back in this unworthy form, you will not find your place in the West. Be patient, my Ba, my brother, until I am born anew. That man will stand by the tomb and be respectable in the West. My Ba opened his mouth to me to answer what I said.
If you mention your sick heart, it brings tears to my eyes, as though I made you miserable by throwing you in the canal. Thus, you will not see the light of the sun. But those who built granite halls, beautiful and sturdy pyramids, when the builders become gods, their scepters are destroyed, like lesser men who died in the canal, carried off by the floods, burned by the sun, and their corpses chatting with the fishes through wet lips. Listen to me. Look. It is good to listen to people. Enjoy the day and forget worries. I recall a peasant once plowed his plot of land and loaded his harvest into a boat. He tows the boat and sails near his produce. He watched the boat as the sun came and went. He recalls that his wife and child met misfortune in this lethal canal of the East. When he met his end, he said, I do not weep for that mother, because she passed by the West. I am concerned for her children who were killed young, before they were worthy. Now, I recall a commoner who requested to raise his status. His wife said to him that they will throw a feast. He went outside to scatter seed at the estate. When he returned, he was like a different person. His wife pleaded with him, but he did not listen. He was changed badly and disappointed the judges and bystanders. Do you understand what I'm telling you?
I opened my mouth to my soul that I might answer what he said. My name reeks through you, more than the smell of bird droppings on a hot summer day. My name reeks through you more than a haul of catfish on a hot summer day. My name reeks through you more than the ducks gathered in the reeds. My name reeks through you more than fishermen coming back from the marsh. My name reeks through you more than an unworthy man. My name reeks through you more than an adulterous woman. My name reeks through you more than a bastard child. My name reeks through you more than rebellious citizens planning a coup. Whom can I talk to today? Brothers are evil and friends do not love each other. Whom can I talk to today? Hearts are greedy and everyone steals from each other. Whom can I talk to today? Kindness has vanished, everyone is rude to each other. Whom can I talk to today? People are content with evil, cast goodness on the ground. Whom can I talk to today? Wrongdoers who should enrage make people laugh instead. Whom can I talk to today? Yesterday is not remembered. People do not help those who helped them. Whom can I talk to today? Faces are blank and turned away from their brothers. Whom can I talk to today? I am laden with misery for lack of an intimate friend. Death is in my sight today, a cure to a sick man. Death is in my sight today, like the smell of myrrh, like the smell of lotus flowers. Death is in my sight today, like a man longing to see home after years of imprisonment. So surely there is someone in the West who is worthy by virtue of being purified of defects. Surely there is someone in the West who boarded the ship of the sun by virtue of bribery to the temples. Surely that someone in the West would not reject being petitioned by Ray. My boss said to me,
Set mourning aside. You belong with me. You are my brother. Throw your burdens on the fire. This struggle to be worthy, as you've said. Love me here and forget about the West. Rest assured, I wish that you reach the West, that your body lands and I may rest. But when you are outcast, we shall make a home together.
What has essentially occurred in the story of a dispute between a man and his ba is that the man, a noble, is depressed at the state of the world and his own personal moral failures. So he wishes to bribe his way into heaven by building great monuments before he takes his own life. His ba, conversely, attempts to tell him that not worrying about his or anyone else's worthiness is the actual path to being worthy. Dying prematurely, seeking fame through fancy monuments if you fail to simply work hard, find contentment, and let people live and let live. Failing to empathize with the suffering that death brings to the living. All of these things will only serve to remove your worthiness. As a side note, for later in the New War quest, the hieroglyphics that I translated as worthy is closer to godly, and juxtaposed against primitive or common in the story, which I translated as unworthy. When you compare this message to ancient Egyptian society and its preoccupation with building monuments and being remembered, it is a scathing critique of nobility itself. And within Warframe's Buddhist inspirations, it creates an opportunity to juxtapose the Buddhist religious philosophy of embracing change, letting go of permanent attachments, and doing so as a means to cessation of the suffering in life. Yet the ba somehow manages to stay empathetic. The ba does not meet the man with critique or hate, but responds to the man's doomsaying with compassion and companionship. Even after they are rejected by heaven, the man is a character meant to be seen as someone irrationally racing toward death. Armed with the knowledge of this reference, we may return to the Tenno ascending the Unum's tower. The sentient ship atop the tower prepares to launch. Before it can get away, the Unum speaks to us.
Let them defile no more.
Freezing space-time itself to give us the edge we need to reach the vessel.
Operator, I may be detecting something unusual. Should I focus scan?
Won't be necessary, Ordis.
Increasing on vector heading 0 by 0 by 0. Right toward the main narmer fleet, passing Mercury. One against so many. There's no way she'll get through.
This is not your fight, Tenno. Ballas is mine.
You're not ready. He's manipulated you for so long. He'll just own you. Like he owns every other narmer.
You are warned. Keep to your place.
The Lotus warns us to stay away. We urge her to let us help her resist Ballas's abuses, but she refuses, saying that it is not our responsibility.
Contact! Contact! Narmer armored, outgunned. What? By stars. They're lowering shields. She still has some command of the field.
But not the one ship Ballas now controls. The great sentient weapon of the old war. Do you know what she was called? Pegasa. The Devourer.
Yes, we know it. The ship that feeds on debris and derelicts to rebuild itself.
Please. You're not thinking straight. You need more time to heal.
There is no time, no mercy for narmer. Pegasa must be stopped before Ballas can fulfill her original purpose. Pegasa cannot be allowed to feed.
As we fight to catch up with her, we urge her to think of her own needs first, but she warns us of a sinister purpose behind Ballas' ship, the Pegasa, a ship designed to consume the sun.
What do you mean? Feed on what?
The sun.
We are sent flying from the ship of the sun, the Pegasa. Floating in space, Cephalon's side delivers to us our railjack, and we pursue, wondering to what end Ballas would want to destroy everything. Ballas wants to reach Tao, the One, the Way. To do so without resistance, he subjugated the entire Origin system, promised love, peace, and freedom as he erected great monuments to himself on every planet. And now he boards the ship of the sun to sail to the west.
Well met, Tenno, but no time for reminiscing. We are under attack. Target-rich environment. Get on those guns. Your ex-shield's down. She still has fangs. Time for the big gun. Get on it. Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million. Gravimetrics are chaotic. At current rate, this railjack will burn on approach. Weird. That thing appears to be eating the sun.
We've got to stop it. What if we approach using the wrecked ships as cover?
Priority. Get close enough to execute slingshot maneuver. Time transitions with solar flare events for maximum cover. Engines locked. Shields burning away. Watch your vectors.
My people, long have you waited for the sign. I have delivered it. Look to the sky. It grows darker by the moment. That darkness gathers strength, strength enough to open the void and bear me onward to sacred Tao.
Gravitational waves increasing. Helm will feel sloppy.
What will become of you, my people? My flock? You will join me there, of course, but by another path. The path of sacrifice. The path of oblivion. Cleansed of all doubt, for you will peer into pitch of day and find the sun is gone. Its heart-rendered, beating in my hand. The cost of my passage. We are...
Crew, brace for shock bridge. We are breaking apart. Immediate repairs. Crisis averted. Mission continues. Entering slingshot range. Orphix pulse fields detected aboard. Get a necromech in the barrel. You will need it.
Alright, sorry. Get clear after launch.
We are now close enough to the Pragasa, but an Orphix field blocks our warframe. Our only choice is to launch our Old War Necromech, a heavy-duty weapon that uses a mummified corpse as the conduit for our transference, and we are greeted by Era.
My father was right. But it's too late. I cannot stop Ballas. No one can. Soon, my people, and yours too, will all be destroyed for the pride of one man. Follow me.
Era has finally seen the error of his ways, having now heard Ballas's true intentions. He does not believe we will succeed in stopping him, but he is willing to let us try by leading us to the final Archon.
When the Lotus reaches him, he will make her his puppet. Together, they will annihilate the sun. And so, my sister must...
I know! Maybe if she was stronger, we wouldn't have to.
Era warns us that Ballas's plan is to, once again, subjugate the will of our mother Lotus by manipulating her memories. He does not want to go to Tau alone. Ballas wants a friend, a loved one, to go with him. Like the man arguing for the cooperation of his Ba through guilt and bribery, Ballas wants Nata to become Margulis, to be what he loved once more. The ship continues to collapse under the force of solar flares, and Era holds debris from collapsing so that we may approach the Archon, take its core, and use it to restore the Lotus.
We'll be waiting for you. Maybe its power will make her whole again. Give her enough strength to resist.
Understood.
To give her the strength she needs to resist Ballas. As we defeat the Archon in battle, Ballas mocks us on our approach to his throne.
What a glorious reunion. You and Mother Dearest both come to send me on my way. I am ready, Tenno. Are you?
Ballas stands before the red gold sun disk, having opened a gateway through the void to Tau. As always, haughty and proud.
Kneel, and I will spare these worlds. Beg, and I will make you complete again.
He commands the Lotus to serve him.
I had something different in mind.
Clearly lying about his claims to cease his destruction and to help the Lotus heal.
I loved you once. You were so like her.
You dreamed of a Margulis you could control, but she chose death over you.
Ballas, at some point, knew that Nata, the sentient mimic, was masquerading as Margulis because Nata resembled her, because of the Orokin's vain faith of seeing aesthetics as truth. That was enough for him.
I said to stay out of this.
But you can't, can you? Still desperate to save her from herself. You never truly knew her, did you? What she most needs. Why do you make me do these things?
Balis steals the Archon's core. Its power within him cannot heal the Lotus, and he can forcefully command her on a whim.
Say, I love you, my master.
I love you, my master.
Now, kill your child. For me.
He commands our mother to kill us. Thinking on our toes, the only way to break her free is to break the symbol of his power, the sun discs, using the Lotus's power.
There's a good girl. Repair the hurt you have dealt us. Have dealt me.
No!
You had to have a child. And with an open heart, I gave you this. And my reward? Being left to watch as all your love, my love, poured into the bottomless well of this abominable child.
Remember what he did to you!
Remember my old self dissolving beneath your fingers, shaping me, directing me. Lua.
As she regains herself, she denies that Balis has any meaning or value. He denies that she, a sentient, can feel pain or even anything at all.
Yes, let's discuss what I did. I, who have endured your torture of me, your lies, your betrayals, without complaint. All for you. And this is my reward.
You lie. You are small.
Pitiful. I am loved.
A mask with nothing behind it.
Pitiful, broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you.
Ballas, stop. Spare them. Spare them. And I will be whatever you want.
Shut up! You are making me do this. And when this child is dead, you and I will have words.
He sees her as a tool and turns to abuse us, her child, to get the Lotus to submit willingly. But we continue to resist.
Her kind can't feel pain. All lies. You never understood me, my vision. My future lies with Tao. Not here, not with you.
Stop. Stop.
She has this coming. Do not interfere again. I cast you from my sight, Lotus.
Ballas whines and complains about a universe that never understood him, that he was greater than common people, that he was worthy of being godly.
Very well. I give you my death, and yours as well. The unstoppable annihilation of every single last thing. Pleased? Satisfied? Are you now full up with death?
My vision was only ever comprehensible to myself. My ambition beyond the grasp of people. Thus I have always been alone. Your death changes nothing. What are you?
Tell me that. What barren, disgusting thing have I let into my house and my heart? Tell me!
Child. Run.
Run? Where should they run to? You've only destroyed everything.
And if he cannot have that, then he happily hastens everyone's death, including his own. He berates and harasses the Lotus.
Alone at last. Now, kneel.
You monstrous bitch!
Until we turn the tides by placing his own veil of lies over his eyes.
My love.
Margulis.
Kiss me.
Then, with a kiss, the Lotus steals her power back, draining away his life, his power, and then From the void, a wall in the shape of the Vitruvian man appears, but lacking the top of its head, its mind. With a sinister grin and missing index finger, the man in the wall sits atop the Vitruvian man's half-missing head. The wall speaks to us. The one impersonating us laughs. The Lotus tries to resist it while shielding us with her power. But, as if toying with us, the wall vanishes. The Lotus collapses, and we bring her back to her chamber to rest.
How do you feel?
I thought I was Nata, Margulis. The Lotus?
That's up to you. He's gone.
You. Thank you.
At the end, what did you see?
I saw... nothing. Nothing.
We've got work to do. Narmer's shattered, but they've got a martyr now. And the old guard are already eager to fill the vacuum. If you're ready.
I'm not sure. There are voices. I am not one.
I know. But maybe you could choose one voice to lead the others. It's your choice.
As she has always done, she hides what she may know of this Vitruvian man. But the Tenno are more concerned with her safety and who she wants to be. She has spent her whole life fulfilling a role that others wanted to see in her. Young, brightness. Hanhao and Ara wanted to see Nata, yin, darkness. Balis wanted to see Margulis, yin-yang, balance. There was only ever one role that she chose for herself. Space Mom. The Lotus has returned.
I see violence and suffering in our future. We will need compassion and strength in equal measure. I am the Lotus.
Thank you for watching, my friends. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for notifications, like the video so that the algorithm shares it with people. I will see you in the next one. And as always, stay true.
My child, my friend, what was done is done. Balis is no more. We have both woken from that nightmare at last. New dangers, new choices await us now. Few will be simple. Each moment unfolds into 1,000-petaled bloom of possibilities, and each one we will face together. For now, rest. Dream of who we were and of who we have become.